All right. Two people are dead and the third is in critical condition following a shooting at the West Freeway Church of Christ in White Settlement, Texas on Sunday. One person died at the scene of the shooting, another died on the way to the hospital, and the third remains in critical condition. According to the newspaper, citing MedStar spokeswoman Makara Trusty, the shooter is believed to be one of the three. Fort Worth Fire Department spokesman Mike Drivdahl told the newspaper, but it was unclear which one. In a since removed live stream of the Sunday service at the West Freeway Church of Christ, a figure appears to draw a weapon and fire twice before a second person shoots back, according to WFAA-TV, which said other armed congregants also rushed toward the shooter. Places of worship are meant to be sacred, and I am grateful for the church members who acted quickly to take down the shooter and help prevent further loss of life, Texas Governor Greg Abbott said in a statement. Cecilia and I ask all Texans to join us in praying for the white settlement community and for all those affected by this horrible tragedy. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton's office tweeted it would assist in any way needed. So two people are deceased. The congregation was packing, and I'm just now seeing Ruben's comment. Yeah, they had the shooting over there where two people were killed, and the gunman apparently had weapons drawn on him after he came in there and fired at the congregation. So this is actually, I think, the first time in any mass shooting, at least out of the ones I've read about or just shooting in general, where you've had multiple people just pull up weapons and fire back at the person who was starting it. So, like I said before, if you have regular, normal people with weapons, they can be very convenient as far as being of assistance. But a lot of these kooks, like the one that tried to do this, they just shouldn't have a firearm. They're really weird. Person took 8 days to whatever. Sorry, this person left a comment on this this thing I wrote, and it took him it took him 8 days to respond to me. I guess they were trying to get their courage up. Yeah, so Abbott is doing the thoughts and prayers thing and thanking people for stopping it. Very generic response. I guess what it is that we're so, at least from my perspective, I'm just so used to hearing about these things to where you just read off a body count, detail what happened, and that's pretty much it. Which is really disturbing, and it bothers me to be that desensitized to hearing about carnage and destruction, but it just happens so often. Like, I actually have a news article I was going to read where, and this one is, I'm going to do a separate upload about this. They said that this has been the year with the most mass shootings since 2006, and we've had the most. There was some big statistic, but it mentioned that this has been the year with the most mass shootings since 2006. So in the last 13 years, the highest number of them. But we didn't have the highest number of fatalities because of the Vegas shooting outdoing this year with the, what was it, 56 people? Lone Star State. Now, Ruben, you know Texas is your favorite state. You probably would go over there right now if you could. That'll be the first state you visit if you could just travel to any one of them you wanted. It's your initial pick. So don't even try to pretend you don't love all the Texans. That was pretty. I wish they didn't delete the footage. I wanted to see that where he comes out with the weapon and then all of them just pull theirs out on him. I just think that would be, I don't want to say exciting, but it'd be interesting to see. I've never seen a shooting where all these different members of the congregation are packing at the same time as the gunman, and they just decide to respond in that capacity. Usually it's one person who tackles the person or has a weapon themselves. Notice how all the pro-Democrat people in mainstream media always grandstand about mass shootings in this country, but are not bothered by the never-ending wars at all. Yeah, the only war you ever saw them crying about was Syria, and that was when we were trying to get out of it. No, they weren't. They were worried, but not for the right reason. So I would still say they don't care about ever ending any of these conflicts. Like even the people on TV, the commentators who say we've been in Afghanistan for too long, they're not giving you any direction on how to just leave. They're not saying I want us to just get out tomorrow because they do that little I want to leave in a responsible manner nonsense, which is code for stay for a longer time just with a better excuse. So for the last 18 years, it's been because we want to help the Taliban. Maybe next time it'll be because we think uh, the Taliban need our assistance because of new weapons of mass destruction. Some nonsense that people will eat up because they don't think critically about this stuff. I think the only war that we could have had that like was actually stopped by people just not buying it in recent time was Venezuela, because it was like no matter how much the and it's light, no matter how much the Republicans tried to make it, and a lot of these Democrats tried to make it sound as if Guaido was this wonderful man who was going to save the world. People still kept saying coup, 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 and they wouldn't go all the way with it like they did with the other ones. That might be the only time in maybe modern U.S. history where we stopped a war before it started by having enough people say this is stupid. All the other ones we go right into it because we don't care. Next, we will team up with the Taliban to defeat the next wave of ISIS. Yeah, I told you Trump tried to make it sound like getting rid of Baghdadi actually mattered. They can kill 1,000 leaders and they're still going to be fighting them all because it never ends, man. This is how the little the cycle goes. They get rid of one person who's in leadership, and then all the little members of the group are like, "Oh my God, this is my chance to go higher up in the ranking. Let me go and do some ox." So it doesn't discourage anyone. These are people already don't have anything to live for. That's why they're terrorists. That's why they're willing to fly planes into buildings and strap bombs to themselves. They don't care about their own lives. So when you start trying to say, "We got your leader," it doesn't work on them. They don't care. But people were celebrating that, checking in. I don't understand, Vince. You get me a little confused. I like a trick comment. You're trying to throw me off. I mean, it worked, but I was still kind of privy to what the intent was. Yeah, they're all over the place with these wars. They want to go to this country or that country, and I guess what gets me is that I had one person who asked, "Did you think any of them would end when Trump took over?" I said no, but if he wanted to end any of them, you knew what the response would be. There's a lot of crybaby stuff from both sides because we have two war parties, and he would cave because that's one of the few issues where Republicans will actually split from him, not because they're some moral people who want to make sure these conflicts are ended in some noble way that will be over in a year or some other feasible amount of time. No, they just want to keep their money. So it's either defense contractor coins for your campaign or be on Trump's side, and they pick the former. They go with the coins. If you search the internet for a list with a felony, a lot of people are saying that now is the best time just because Trump is in office. Well, I mean, only 1%, less than 1% of all Americans even in the military. From that statistic I read, and then remember, only less than 1% of Americans in the military, but 27% of the homeless are veterans. That's how screwed up this is. That literally means that if you go to the military, your chances of being homeless increase by what, 20%? No, I saw that statistic. Nice try. Yeah, 7 times increase. But people still want to tell you, go serve your country, go serve honorably. Yeah, and you see what happens to those who serve. They either get blown to pieces overseas, or if they come back, it's without a leg or an arm, or without the self-respect of being treated like a decent human being. And people just don't care, man. It doesn't matter to them. I told you, then when you complain about this stuff, you get a lot of straw man arguments. I had a person who said something to the effect of, well, I don't see you helping the veterans. Like, I'm not the government. I don't have billions of dollars at my disposal. Sorry, I'm not the government or Bezos. If I was one of those two entities, or Bloomberg or Steyer or whatever the hell, I'd be willing to do it. Lots of drug addiction with returning U.S. veterans too. Yeah, they're. Have we had a statistic on them in the opioids crisis? I don't think we have. But I'm pretty sure statistics exist for what amount of people that are alcoholics, or just frequent drug users, or former members of the military. Us little people benefit from our government doing what it does overseas. Yeah, I don't know who sung that song to you, but I have a bridge to sell you if you believe that. We get benefited by bombing random people that haven't done anything to us. We can probably credit the internet to wars, yeah. Didn't ISIS have a YouTube channel? Weren't they putting up videos chopping people's heads off? If I remember correctly, they got, I don't think they were banned either. Most of our privileges that other countries don't have come from bloodshed. Well, I mean, we have wars, but like outside of the Civil War, and then maybe if you want to get on an actual level of seriousness, World War II, a lot of these conflicts don't really show themselves to provide much meaning overall to the betterment of lives for Americans. We call them barbaric for chopping the hands of a thief, but here in America, we say police are justified in shooting one. Well, remember what that Mike Gravel quote? If you kill one person, it's murder. If you kill a bunch of people with bombs, it's foreign policy. Because it's true. Every time someone wants to go and bomb a whole bunch of people, oh no, that's just he's the president. He will do whatever he wants. But then if you stab someone or shoot someone, oh my God, what a sick thing. Jail time forever. But if you do that to a bunch of people with some other weapon while wearing a suit and tie and sitting in the Oval Office or some other place of distinguishment, hey, it's cool. That's how we work. People just keep coming in, they leave. It went from 10 to 8 to 9 to 7. Like, just make up your mind already. Jesus. And the crazy thing is they don't even let you say anything before they flee. They're just like, what you talking about? I don't hear anything about women. I must leave. They just come in there and then they jump out. The military does. Yeah. Well, the president directs the military. I still can't get over that dumb broad who was like, well, if the president doesn't do this stuff, maybe the office isn't really that important. It's like, this office that people spend billions of dollars to get every 4 years doesn't matter. Okay. It's so insignificant that we're going to shell out trillions of dollars over the span of 20 years in 5 presidential elections to get it from across both parties, but it doesn't matter. It is the most powerful one. That's what I was saying. It's like they're gonna defend the most powerful person in the world from negating their responsibilities, and then crap on the homeless and say they're all broke because every one of them was lazy. That's just that's how bad. That's why I said live in the Twilight Zone. Like, we're going to defend the most powerful person in the world, but then those that are without power get blamed and all that. Like, what Oh my god. I've actually never seen Chappie before. This must be some new character. Chappie is a brand new, I don't know, entity. Vince says, yeah, it's ridiculous, especially because the president's word extends outside the office. The president can mobilize civilians to take up arms, for example. Yeah, it's a bully pulpit. When you don't use it effectively, you pretty much get screwed. Like they kept on saying, oh, Obama couldn't pass single payer because the blue dog Democrats, like he's the president. He could have gone to their state and said to the Democrats in West Virginia, this is my healthcare proposal that your Republican light senator is opposing, vote him out. And that person would have flipped over from all those protests and rallies and calls to their offices that would have come from the president demanding, or at least getting the people in that state to rally around going after that person. We kill people that pose a threat to the world's safety. It's sad but necessary. When someone else is killed, there is no point. I don't understand the people in Yemen who are, what was the statistic, Ruben? It was like 4/5 of them are poor. They pose a threat to the world's safety. That's why we bomb their hospitals and mosques. How is Barbara Lee as a congresswoman like? I don't trust her. Something about her seems off to me. I really haven't seen many of her recent votes. Like the few times I go, because I told you I find the Senate more interesting, so I pay more attention to them. But the few times I go to the House website, she doesn't seem to vote any less generic from the rest of the Democrats. And you don't really ever see her talking about international issues that often. So I think she's better than Pelosi, but I mean, that's not saying much. God, she should have ran for speaker. That would have just, oh, so stupid. Everybody was so scared of that fossilized hag. Oh my God, Pelosi's going to bribe the Democrats to vote against me. Good. His second in command. Who is to say what a threat to world safety is, though? A lot of the super left people praise Lee because of that one vote for. Well, Ruben, you know how they are. They take one vote that either makes or breaks your entire career. Like a lot of the Wayne Morris supporters will sit there and babble about, oh my God, he was one of 2 senators to vote against the Gulf of Tonkin. Okay, can you tell me about any of his other votes? Anything else about him? No, just okay. It's the same thing with the commentators. She voted for Kavanaugh. We're going to ignore all the time she voted for stuff we liked. That's how short-sighted and narrow-minded people are with a lot of these senators. I'm a Republican, but oh, well, we got to get rid of you then. Goodbye, Chappie. Imagine. It's like, thanks for revealing that to us. And then I pull out the Thanos glove. He gets a yank. Oh, imagine if I actually did have that. This was the I Hate Trump show, and like every time somebody says a Republican in the chat, they just get removed. He's like, oh man, that was my fatal mistake. I revealed my political affiliation. Now we know who he is, so we're gonna make sure to ignore his comments from now on. Oh, you know, what if I had like a secret YouTube software where I shadow ban people? Like, after he says he's a Republican, no one can see his comment, and he's still typing stuff. And then if he logs into another account, he can still see what he wrote. But like every other person that was there that isn't from his IP address can't see it. Just checking out the other side's opinion, nothing much. Now you can go watch Ben Shapiro now. It's all right. I'll understand. Or O'Reilly or Hannity or Beck or Levin. What's the other one? Bongino, the NRA one. Or Owens. I'm gonna list all the conservative commentators. We're gonna have like 10 or 20 of them Like, here's a list of all these people you can watch instead of me. It's all right. I understand. The Daily Wire isn't live. Well, that's why you have uploads. Like, actually, all the channels I watch that are political, I think the only one of them that streams more than me is TYT, and I watch them the least because, like I said, they have one person on there that every time she comes on there, I turn the thing off. I mean, it's one view. I feel so accomplished. You shouldn't have revealed your political affiliation. Now we're going to harp on it forever. We're going to send you to Mar-a-Lago. We're gonna buy you a plane ticket over there. You're going to go and hang out with Trump. And it's actually kind of sad that in like making that generalization, you can't even blame me for thinking that he automatically likes Trump because Trump has a 90% approval rating with Republicans. So most of them are probably going to do it. What are we going to do to avoid this? Well, if you're like me and you support gun control, you get accused of trying to take people's weapons away from them. So I'm just gonna hush and speak neutrally. Not even gonna bother pushing my agenda. Ruben says TYT was bringing Media Matters employee Parker Malloy a lot during the last time I bothered watching them. Yeah, they have a whole bunch of different people on there that I don't bother with. I think besides Jank, the only other person I actually kind of like to see is not Iderola. What's the other one? The one with the glasses. The one that's I forgot his name. Mankiewicz or something. Outside of those three, I'm good. You can have the rest of the group. Maybe we can meet up and discuss this over a cup of raspberry tea. Yeah, I'm good. we can stick to computers and wires and cables as opposed to raspberry and chairs and tables. So that'll suffice. Mark Thompson and Steve O are okay, I guess. I don't know much about either of them though. Well, Steve is the same one that I'll agree. I don't know much about him. I don't think I instantly recall who Mark is, but for Steve, he's the same one that on election night was like, Trump has no chance of winning, no chance whatsoever. And then you remember had that debate on Aggressive Progressives with Jimmy where they were screaming and yelling at each other about Kissinger and people of his ilk in Silicon Valley being able to control who gets to stay on these different websites after Jones got the platforms. I hope you're not the type of guy to throw a tantrum about a Trump. What Trump mean? I don't know what we're referring to here. Yeah, I'm gonna just throw my foot up against the ground. Oh my God, he posted a picture of Trump, and then that's when I'm gonna throw my Thanos glove and they're gonna disappear. But Ruben, do you remember that argument they had, that exchange? Because there were a lot of conservatives who were praising Jimmy for supporting restrictions on censorship, so for not liking censorship. And I already said the same thing, that you can't have supposedly public platforms like Twitter and YouTube and Facebook, these places that these companies want you to believe are accessible to everybody, and then a little group of guys sitting behind some keyboards gets to decide who stays on there and who doesn't. It's dangerous. See, I hope you remember that was a hell of an exchange. They were screaming at each other. I think I used to have a copy of that on my computer, and I got rid of it because I had to free up some space. It was perfect. It probably, if I had to list my top 10 favorite TYT exchanges, that's definitely in there. And then remember the one with Jimmy and Ben I think it was at the RNC, and they were arguing with each other over why Jimmy wouldn't vote for Hillary, and they got so mad that Ben was like, "Don't you yell at me!" And oh my god! Every time they argue, it just gets funny because it's like, calm down. As a non-American, I'm insane. What did I do? Ruben says, I remember it was over the top crazy. It was great as entertainment, but as a serious discussion, Dora could have acted better, especially since he had the correct opinion. Yeah, that screaming, man, it gets to a level. Don't you yell at me. No, he swore while he was like, don't you you know, expletive here, yell at me. And then they're like pointing at each other and stuff. And it's made even better by the positions they're in because like one of them is right next to the other, being like, "Don't you tell me who to vote." I mean, conservative baby boomers and PragerU. All right, well, I'm not part of Prager, and I'm certainly not a baby boomer. So those are two categories I would like to believe I've dodged, or I know I've dodged rather. Yeah, he really his stance was kind of it was I don't know that just I love that exchange because it just it ain't I guess what I think is so funny is a lot of people will say that TYT is like the Sanders network or whatever, but you have differing positions over there, and those little exchanges show how they get really when they get pissed off at each other. Remember the segment over the football scandal where the guys had the Google Doc where they were rating the chicks in their classes on like a private thing over there. Yeah, very long time to say. I don't even recognize the person who just said that. That's probably because there's a profile picture. Thoughts on Leninism? I don't think much about like all these. Listen, conservatism, liberalism, Leninism, Stalin, all of that stuff to me are just words that people use when they can't actually discuss what someone believes. Like if you ask what my ideology is, I would just say progressive, but then I would tell you what specific issues or ideas I support. So hopefully that answers. I don't think much about it. So all those terms do is just red scare someone. He said Leninism was good. Ban him. Stop watching him. Run away. It's like, no, it's just, I don't feel the need to go into the ideology stuff. Just say what the positions are, and that's it. I'm anti war. I like a lot of the domestic programs. About to make some homemade soda. I'll be listening in the background. Homemade soda. I've seen homemade cakes. I haven't seen homemade. Y'all know feminism, right? I have an idea. Masculism. That sounds great. Ruben, you want some homemade soda? I've never heard that before. I've heard of homemade cake, homemade cookies, not homemade. I guess maybe homemade shakes, but that's a lot. That's a lot less than the other two. Homemade Sprite. If it's homemade, it's not Sprite because it's not an actual whatever. Leave it alone. How does homemade soda work? No, he just told you. He wrote it down. Okay, liberals are okay with American war criminals as long as it's a woman or a person of color. Well, liberals might be, but if they're me, when I identify as a progressive more than a liberal, I don't care who it is. I have multiple uploads critiquing Obama and Hillary, disregarding if one is black or if one has a vagina. It doesn't matter. If you do the warmonger stuff, you get called out for it. So don't put me in that bucket, beastie. Good old homemade Dr. Pepper. I thought you were making Sprite. I saw a TV ad for a soda making machine once. Yeah, they have ads for everything. I remember they had the wax vac ad where it's like a little thing you put in your ear to get the wax out of it. And during the ad, when the guy is like trying to use was it a not a toothpick, a cotton swab or whatever. It's like, ow! And ever since, like when I first saw that ad, I knew that ow would be something people put online. He sticks in it, ow! Like screaming. He means the resistance Democrats, many of them are passing off as real left wing people. Oh well, I'm one of the real left wing people. They're trying to impersonate me. They can mirror the name of my ideology, but they can't mirror my positions. What if the USSR came back? Russia is way past that point. That's over. I'm Billy Mays here. I remember those. What was it, OxyClean? What you think about Trump having lowest unemployment rate since December? Chappie. Make sure it wasn't choppy. Sometimes when I have the computer away, I can't really see as well. I've said before, the unemployment rate is not an indicator of wealth. And a lot of the Republicans that are in office and their supporters try to hide behind that fact. So you could literally have 0% unemployment, but if everyone's getting paid $10 an hour to live at some place that costs $50 a day to stay at, they're going to have a bit of an issue. No, that's why I said wages have been stagnant for 40 years. And, you know, I always try to tell some of the conservatives that come over and argue, if they raise the minimum wage, they're going to have to fire people. It's like, okay, but then by that logic, if they lower it, are they going to now hire every person that is in the area? Like, I don't understand that. Now, if they increased it by double, okay, yeah, sure, but by $1, that just destroys the whole economy. Are you serious? Everybody gets one more buck and everything else can't just stay the same. We don't have price controls. We can't make stuff stay the same price it was before. Seriously? Okay. That's why I told you the US economy, like, forget the stock market. It just feels like it's this big scam. Like, I don't like it. What about you? I don't even, like I just said about the Leninism thing, it's just another term people use. Like, I don't even call myself a socialist because I just know that I'll get labeled one eventually anyway. If I ever became some prominent commentator, you support Sanders, you're a socialist. Like, all right, whatever. It's just another Red Scare word for people to get freaked out over. It doesn't mean anything. Oh, I'm so flattered, Richard, I can almost blush. Man, my cheeks got red. I'm just like, oh, I gotta go off the camera. Let's see, what else? What did Chappie? He wrote something. I was trying to respond to it. I think I've actually forgotten my point. Oh well, it'll come back to me eventually, at some point. You just have to think about it for like 2 seconds. No, there was some other argument I was going to make about the that stupid term. Oh yeah, that Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security are socialist programs that like you never see any of the Republicans trying to get rid of. Give me one single state that has successfully built up a great economy. Like I said, I don't care about these words, but under the little like wealth transfer definition thing, it's another one of those public good programs that would fall under that label. Have you watched Richard Wolff? I doubt it. Beastie, don't waste your time. Once they get these terms started, it never goes away. That's why I don't like those terms, because people don't actually talk about policies. They just sit there and like straw man you. When has conservatism ever successfully helped the U.S.? It's like, can we actually discuss what the conservatives who were in power did at various points? No, okay, all right. We'll just sit here and whine about labels. We'll all just not bother discussing any specifics. People People kill me with that, man. The effing Soviet Union. Okay, let me see. Oh, I didn't even say Orange Girl. I forgot about that one. Have you watched the new Harley Quinn cartoon? It's even more junk pandering to feminists. Yeah, Ruben. After the DCAU, her character pretty much in everything that isn't uh, Batman related, other than the Arkham games, kind of annoys me because they just like she had this really good design and this good dynamic with Joker, and they start doing that independent thing that gets on my nerves. It's like if you tried to do a whole spin-off about Robin. His character's better with Batman. Just certain stuff doesn't need to be done a certain way because the designs were actually good. Yeah, but if the designs are good, they usually mess with the writing. Like, we can't have both. We can't have good designs and characters that like actually have good interactions or decent writing. We need to have one be screwed up and the other one is decent. Oh, thanks. At least you don't like. Of course, don't like feminists. I literally have sat here talking about all these dumb chicks. I mean, as far as like the whole overall mission of equality and all that, if you want it, you can't have it both ways. So if I live in an era where all the guys have to approach all the chicks to get a date, then that's, there should be no broad who's okay with that. But a lot of them are because they're cowards and won't go up to some man that they supposedly like or whatever. So their own ideology doesn't go with their own actions, what I'm saying. And do you see any broads pushing for chicks to be drafted to the military or have to sign up for selective service? No, you don't. Told you that's why I don't like that not that group, but I just don't like that term because they don't do anything for men. They don't care about them. So why should we care about them? It's just a nice little reversal. What about Teen Titans was good? Yeah, but he still had good characters to play off of, is what I'm saying. That like the rest, his dynamic with the rest of the team was fine. Besides, Teen Titans was a pre-established idea. They've kept him without Batman for all kind of stuff for decades. That was just one of the earliest examples of not having it solely in the comics. Only thing I don't like about Teen Titans was that's another show that suffered from the bad embargo, that little stupid thing that DC did where they're like, if people see Batman in two cartoons, they'll think he's the same person. So, or it's the same one. If a feminist offered you to say something against your beliefs, would you do it? Well, I would like the money, but I probably would say no. I mean, it's just like if you said, if Trump offered you $1 trillion, or not trillion, $1 million check or $100, whatever, some big number, to $6,000 to be on his campaign team, would you? No, I don't want you reelected. If Wall Street offered me 400,000 like Obama to give a speech, would I do it? No. I hate you people. I don't want anything. Your blood money. They actually do have a thing where they said that there will be that one person who will betray their class by getting paid all that much by the people who are in charge of the money. So like some person who's so concerned about the poor will give $100,000 speech to some bank and then they'll go and give it out. It's like, no, what's going to happen is they're going to think that that's what they'll do. And then when they get it from such a cheap activity as flapping their gums for a couple of hours, they're going to keep on flapping their gums to get, and saying what these people like to get more of it. That's how greed starts. You get a whole bunch of this stuff, corrupts you, and then you go and, lose your mind over it. Don't want equality anymore. They want power. Wage gap has been debunked, and there's no law that benefits men and not women. Feminist, am I right? Shaking my head. Can't wait to get called a misogynist in the comments section. I give it 3 hours. I already said if they want stuff to be equal, I don't have a problem with that. But when you start doing some of this other stuff, like I still can't get over living in such a bizarro world that you could actually approach 90 or 100 chicks and get turned down by them. And then after making all these compromises, accepting them for who they are, you get told that you were the problem. I was like, man, go to hell. We're not even going to try to make that make sense. Geez, that's a bunch of women haters in these parts. I mean, feminist haters. I don't hate them. I'm not on their side. It's just people complain about something that really is not there. Like we have laws where the chick can have can a man become a woman? I would say no, but whatever. It's not even worth me fighting over anymore. Like I just think if you can't, if you're a guy and you can, and they don't have a surgery where you can reproduce and do all the stuff a chick can biologically, I would say no. But if someone wants to be called that, for example, as long as they're respectful to me, I'll call them what they want to be called. But if they insult me, that's it. So when they do those little gender pronouns thing, if this I don't know biological man wants to be called a woman and they're not a prick, I'll call them what they would like to be called. But if they insult me or say something demeaning to me, then that's it. I think I started a conflict. Sorry. What conflict? What, Hero or on Twitter or Discord or what? Uses a strap on. She temporarily. Yeah, but she can't jizz out of it. She can't do the things that men can do with it, is what I'm saying. Well, that's what I was, Choppy. That's why my answer, or Chappy rather, that's why my answer was the way it was. When I brought up the cartoon here, I mean, it happens, man. People, they go from one topic to another. So, don't beat yourself up over it. I'll let that slide because I still owe you the Corbin documentary. I really, I noticed that anytime I don't put something out after like a month of saying I want it out, it starts to feel like the boy who cried wolf. It's like it'll eventually happen. Just give me next week, and then it doesn't happen, and then it's like, well, damn, I got it wrong. Let's see what else. We came in here for a shoot, and then we had a whole other discussion about feminists and cartoons and all that. Oh, Ruben, did you? I was going to ask you, did you like the? I didn't even know those existed, Richard. But Ruben, I was going to ask you, did you like the Moro arc, the one that's been in the Super manga for the last year and a half? Wish this light would actually be consistent. One of the nicest progressive guys I've ever met, no homo. I'm just used to left-leaning people being insane. I'm very insane. Well, Ruben, is that really because he turns into a chick? So it's, you know what I'm saying? It's more complicated than just that. I really used to like that show when I was younger. Yeah, I'm very insane. I think that chicks shouldn't, be as ridiculous as they are. No, Ruben, it's from the manga. That's where that arc has originated from. I was asking if you had a good opinion of it, or if you had read it or not, because it was doing some stuff I like that you don't really get to see too often. Oh, yeah, I wish I had my chair. I probably actually could put something up there, but it's a thing where if I get, I'll probably be down here or something, and it doesn't really go that well. Yeah, we have about, I think it's 15 chapters in now, but it's supposed to be this like really big, continuous story that is like the manga doing its own thing for the first time. When will Marvel slash DC start having tranny superheroes? I'm shocked it's taking this long. It's the final one on the list. GoFundMe for a new chair. Yeah, or for my one of my relatives used to have this one chair that it's like one of those high chairs where it has a little small seat at the top, but then it's like a big platformer. I think they might have gotten rid of them though. One time a trans went off on me because I said I won't date them. Yeah, I don't understand why anyone would have a problem with that. There are a lot of chicks I wouldn't date, so of course there are going to be LGBT people who I'm not interested in sexually. It's weird, man. Oh yeah, that's what happens, Ruben. People get scared, I guess. or I got bots to like make the numbers appear bigger than they are. I don't even know. I stopped even questioning it. Some people show up, they like to watch and not comment. Some people like to come in and, I don't know, see my face for like 5 seconds, then jump out. I just gave up. I said, yeah, we'll just let them do what they want. Because I can't control it. So hopefully that answers your question. I like how when you said that it was like 2 of them left and 1 came back, and then that number fluctuating thing is always funny. But yeah, I would recommend you read that arc. It's been very spectacular. I almost want to do because at first I was going to do the chapter reviews, but I said I don't like those because they don't have the same lasting durability that you would get from a season review. Yeah, LBGT, all the letters, man. So I probably will wait until the arc is over and then do some huge 2-3 hour video on it with editing and all the wonderful little stuff. Yeah, I would love to just review the whole series up to this point and go like episode by episode, chapter by chapter, because there's a lot of stuff to pick apart and recommend and whatnot. I just remember that the most recent anime I've watched is actually about it's Backstreet Girls. Oh, well, now I've become privy to another cartoon I never thought I'd hear about. So, thanks for that. Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can put together that thing this week. All right. Any further comments, questions, speculations, theories, positions? Chappie says he realizes how insane I am and will never attend again. This is gonna be his sole stream. And I almost had a tear come out of my eye when he said that. I was to the point of depression. They're gonna have to forever hold their peace until tomorrow if they don't hurry up and write what they want to write. Nothing else. That's it. All the comments are there. We don't have anything left to say. All I know is Goku. Sorry, I guess I'm uncultured. Yeah, I'm not really into that many of them myself, other than some of the bigger ones, just because they've been around a lot longer. Anyways, thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. And I'll do a stream tomorrow at some point, probably in the early afternoon, maybe before that. Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see.